We are here because we are dedicated to helping the entire CrossFit community. Determined to elevate coaches, box owners, athletes, and everything in between, we believe that this mission will begin right here, right now. While this time and this goal begins with you, our hope is that you take this fire ignited within you and weave it into your own life with the same unrelenting passion to give those you have the privilege of coming in contact with the best hour of their day.
All right, everybody, we're back, and we're going to talk about one of the things that makes me most angry in this world.
Strong start.
Jason Ackerman. No, I'm just kidding. I do want to give a big shout out. I do want to give a big shout out to Jay. He is not on the podcast today. He is now a father, and he texted me the very next morning early and said, and I quote, "This is not good for my downtime."
I think Mason can relate to that.
He's upset. Yeah, right. Yeah, and he's upset.
Everything.
He's upset that he just finally came to the realization of even though I've been telling him for 9 months that he no longer will take naps.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, bro, I've been taking a nap since like 2013. Since 13.
Well, it's not that you can't take a nap. It's just that it changes from like your own nap to a joint nap. It's you and the kid.
Oh, I can't even do it. I'm not even capable of sleeping with my children in their house. I'm just like, I'm like one eye open. I'm like, what are they doing right now? They're terrorists. But anyway,
great for him, though.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for him. And obviously Roz did all the work and he's just there like usual. It's just like the podcast.
Like
he's just like hanging around.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, even more annoying than Jason Ackerman is merchant fees. Right? Like, what affiliate owner? Now, here's the deal. So you, John, you own News River. Nate, you are a member at News River, and you guys started WheelPay together. How many people do you think know what they actually pay in merchant fees monthly?
I can give you an educated guess based on the recent onboarding of all the gyms. Almost no one. Yeah, I think the answer is just about no one.
Well, so I think the reason is twofold, and so I don't actually don't want to lay all of the blame on the affiliate owners.
I'd lay almost none of it on the affiliate owners.
So talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I think one of the things that we kind of uncovered when we were starting to build this system was that the layers that you have to go through to find the information that should be more available are sometimes challenging. And even boiled into how those fees are put into your system. Like it doesn't always appear the same way. It can look a different way. What's a transaction fee versus a service fee versus an accessibility fee? And I think that it took me in my own gym truly researching what it was costing me to use the system about 2 months. And I actually had to contact my system administrators to ask them certain questions because I didn't understand what these differences were. So, and I will take that even a bigger step and say like, I don't know that that's necessarily a gym industry standard as much as it is an industry standard in the facilitation of credit card fees abroad.
Oh, that I agree with wholeheartedly. That like they don't want you to know. Like
no,
I've tried to go into the back end of our merchant processor and try to figure it out or do something as simple as pull a report. And based on the system that we use, you have to have a computer programming degree in order to figure that out. I'm like, I don't even know what this means, what this thing that I'm requesting at this point. And then when I get it, I'm like, nope, that's not it. I have no idea what that is. And good luck getting somebody on the phone to help you with that.
Yes.
And then when they try to walk you through, and then when they try to walk you through it, you're like, you're not making any sense. Like, why can't you make this make sense?
And I think that is actually like a huge conversation that I had with the company that I was using before. I had to call them and have them actually explain to me how the transactions were happening. And I positioned a very simple question. When I boiled it down, I realized I was making such a low profit margin on my FitAid sales. I literally said, what is your solution to this? Because there's no value in me selling it at the price points that I'm paying for a single transaction. And their solutions were not very elegant. It was, you can batch charge or you can set minimums. And I said, I have a huge issue with that because that's you're kind of countering the retail environment transaction. We want you to buy something, right? If we're maximizing our profits by maximizing how much you have to invest in that, it's going to diminish how much you sell. And she said, well, those are the options. That's what we do.
Well, so back up a little bit, because that might have gone over somebody's head. meaning like with regard to batching. So practically speaking, I want you to walk through what batching looks like for an affiliate owner.
Yeah, it's practically speaking, it's a huge inconvenience. You would basically say, okay, on the 1st and 15th of every month, I'm going to charge everybody. So you have until this date to like, combine. And then I remember doing this. And I'll be honest with you, I deferred this whole entire operation to an intern. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And if you want intern hours, like you need to start doing. So they would sit down for an hour or two and run each group charge as batches through the athletes. And I was like, this is so time consuming, and we're already not making enough money to justify, like, I wouldn't want to pay somebody an hourly wage to do that. That would be a waste of money.
At that point, you probably just lost your margin on some of those.
That's right.
Like I'm paying somebody $15-$12 an hour to do that, to run these batches. And if I sell 20 to 30 fit aids, I'm going to make, I don't know, $30 maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. Right. And this is not a shot. So, that's not fair to Fit Aid. I'm not poo-pooing on Fit Aid or Kill Cliff or any of these or anybody else in the retail space. It's not, margins are margins, and everybody should understand why they do that. However, the merchant processing portion of that, which is the middleman, they're the ones who make the transaction happen. Right. So thinking about, we're not talking about credit card companies. Now, some of them may own their own processing plant, if you will, right? However, but there's the middleman who basically just skims off the top in that transaction.
Yeah.
And
somebody has to facilitate it. Some way your software has to access the ability to do that. And that's where we got connected with our now business partner, Kevin, who basically, he's already built the technology we're using. So it made the conversation really easy. So these merchant companies, they have to get paid. There has to be some sort of way that they're making money. And it's through, a lot of times what you'll see is, you'll pay 1.99% on a Visa card, but they're going to add 30 cents. And usually that 30 cents is where they boil into their profit center, because they have to build a software system for you to use. I mean, there's a lot of, expense that goes to it. So it's not a fee that shouldn't be paid. It's just one that we kind of asked ourselves in our environment, is it one that we have to pay, or can we move that around a little bit? So
that's the catch, right? So like everybody understands that like somebody has to get paid. Most affiliate owners don't know that they're the one eating it.
Yes.
And then when they find out, they're like, what's the alternative to me eating this cost? Because what I think is very interesting is you guys started WheelPay for the retail environment, right? And we'll talk about more about what WheelPay is and the problem that it solves in just a second. But as you move that over into being the sole processor for payments, that's a whole different ball of wax. So like as your revenue grows, so just spitballing here, if you're doing north of 30, if you're doing anywhere between the $30,000 to $40,000 a month range, you're going to pay, and you're probably not even paying attention to this, something around $15,000 to $18,000 a year in merchant fees.
At 30 grand a month, absolutely. You're probably paying more around 20.
Right. So
it's a big expense.
It's a lot, right? So, and if you're doing 40, you're doing 480 a year. 20. I mean, just look at the percentage there. Like it's something to the tune of like 2 to 3%.
That's actually how Tom and I started. I came in one day and he had just found out what he was paying in merchant. Like I walked in and
was he pulling his hair out? You're like, son of a bitch.
Team coming out. He's in our athlete staging room, and he had just gotten off the phone, so he was hot. So he had he's like, you will not believe I'm spending $1,000 a month just in fees. And I said, wow, tell me what happened.
Nate's coming in to work out. I'm coming in.
Yeah, I'm coming to coach and work out. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa.
So
that had just happened.
And any gym owner who's been around a while kind of knows the complete goat rope that is like getting this set up when you get into whatever your platform is, whatever your CRM, Wodify, Zenplan, or Push Press, like whatever, you got to set up that as well. And then you can never get the information that you're looking for, right? It's just like, and I'm not really sure like how this is valuable, like other than like transaction has to go through. And right. So then the counter argument is like, well, how do I avoid merchant fees altogether? We're like, put everybody in ACH. And I'm like, I get that conceptually. However, I know exactly zero people that have been able to execute that 100% across the board. And then there's hidden issues with that too, right? Number one, it creates a pain point in the purchasing process because some people don't want to do that. Some people want to get the points on their credit card. And I'm not here to give anybody a Dave Ramsey lecture on credit and all that other shit. Like, I don't care. If you want to use the points, that's fine. But if I tell them they can't do that when that's how they want to do it, because I don't want to pay the 3% on the transaction, that's a weird little awkward moment there. And secondly, it puts a real big speed bump in the kind of onboarding process with regard to like getting them going. Cause then you're like, hey, do you know your banking and routing number? And they're just like, no. I mean, I know mine. I know mine because I was a financial guy in the military and I know all of those routing numbers, but like I'm a weirdo, right? So like, they're just like, what's the batting number? I'm like 314074974. Like I know what it is. Like, so that stuff is weird and it's awkward. They don't have it. And here's the kicker. If somebody's payment bounces, do you know what the chargeback fee for ACH is? It's like $35 in most instances. Dollars, right? So like, A, they just bounced. So you're going to eat that fee. And then B, good luck collecting their payment and then the fee on top of that. If it bounces a second time, ineligible automatically. Ineligible.
So now you have to get new information.
Right. So, and again, practically speaking, because this has happened to me, we all know how the system works. It's probably not getting resolved in the next 24 hours.
No,
in most instances. Right. So, which means it is going to immediately try to ping it again. So again, from a practical standpoint, the second that it bounces once, it is almost inevitably ineligible forever. Because it's gonna ping again at midnight the next day, and the only way you can avoid that is go in there and void the transaction to try to fix it or pause it. So I get that people want to do that, but there's such a pain point on the front end, and then there are pitfalls with regard to like having the interact where like I can ping a debit card or a credit card as many times as I want, and there's no fee. It'll just keep pinging it until it goes through, which is what you should have set up if you don't have that set up. But ACH is totally different. That's a different ball of wax. And then all of a sudden, if that goes through 2-3 times, so if it pings twice, $70.
Right. You're out half the membership.
Yeah, you're out half the membership, like right out of the gate. And I'm like, well, this is a gigantic nightmare. So no, that doesn't sound like a better option. Now I have to police everybody's budgeting skills. I'm like, no, absolutely not. So you guys, and if anybody can't tell, I've put some serious thought in this.
I'll let you go, man. Just go.
No. I mean, Jason, I get it, dude. It's like, when you're on the other side of it and you're the one who has to collect all this information, like this is literally the conversation that we're having right now is the catalyst for saying nobody's going to do it better than us. Let's just build it. And that's where it just steamrolled. Like, let's just do it. Let's stop waiting around for something to appear that will magically fix these problems that we micro gym owners, us small businesses, the gyms that are under 100 members who are just barely paying their rent. Like, how are you going to nickel and dime these guys when they're barely able to pay themselves? And that was the vision for where WheelPay came from. So
in that light, talk to me a little bit about Wheel. So no, first and foremost, you guys have been on the show before. However, I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive. Because full disclosure, like we are, like partnering because we really support what you guys do. We want to promote it. Like I understand the value of it. I don't know any gym that as their revenue grows wouldn't like to keep 2 to 3% of that. We all know that like a healthy business is considered 5%. We also all know that in the event of the world of COVID, even running a 30% margin, which is amazing, you have the solvency of about 90 days. If your business gets shut down and then you're completely folded. So this is a real problem. And this is how we're trying to push people towards really becoming profitable and trying to squeeze every cent out of it. This happens to be a big one because if you do have large aspirations of being, a $40,000, $50,000 revenue facility, you're talking about keeping $20,000 to $25,000 a year, or otherwise stated a full-time front desk person.
Yeah.
With no increase in revenue. Like you'll just say you were on a system, you switched over, you just get to keep 25,000 and reallocate it to something that has positive ROI. So,
and that's just the money. That's not counting the amount of time that you save.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a whole other element to the increased retail sales that we've seen from all of our affiliates who join. Like it has made the buying process so much easier that people literally are spending more money.
So everybody's like intrigued now. So any gym owner just like is really kind of leaning in, and they're like, these bitches are on to something. So talk to me, like give the 30-second rundown of WheelPay. Give me your elevator pitch. I'm putting you on the spot, bro. So you better nail
this.
No,
this is like, I've been doing this
every day. This is what he's been doing for like the last like year.
I'm going to make it really simple for you. Our system is completely free, period, full stop. There's no other explanation to that. We don't charge for the administrative functions for each gym to operate the portal, nor do we charge for you to utilize our credit card facilitation. So that's number one. Number two, you do not pay transaction fees anymore. And what's really unique, and I know we'll dive into it, is boiled into that fee that you no longer pay, that your community helps service you with. We make a donation to one of the charitable givers inside of our network. And that's really special to us. The other thing that we will fix, and I mean fix, is how you transact in your retail environment. You know, a lot of gyms go with we have a pen and paper next to the whiteboard model. Well, we fixed it. We simplified the process so you don't have to pay someone to just sit there and do charge transactions. The other two things that we've done is we've created a global network of companies and organizations like yourselves that you can actually go in and purchase products from. So if you think about it like a virtual shopping cart where you purchase these products, they'll be drop shipped directly to your house, and the affiliate that you're linked to will financially benefit from that. So that's a huge value add for your community, because now you're buying products you were already buying, like Killcliff. And all of a sudden your affiliate gets cut into the profit center. So it's not
I'm proud of you right now. That was good. That was good. You hit all the marks,
but it was beautiful.
This is pretty close. If we were in an elevator, I'm not bored yet. So you have my attention. So you've solved multiple problems with this, in addition to the big one, quite frankly, which is keeping money in the affiliate.
Oh yeah.
First and foremost, keeping money. Yep. We know most of them are not profitable. And in this instance, doing nothing but potentially switching over to WheelPay will, in some instances, be the first time an affiliate owner would pay themselves. Or you can use it for whatever you want.
Last week you said that. He said, this is the first time I have actually paid myself. I looked at my wife and I said, is this right? Because she kind of handles my, is this right? She goes, yeah. He's like, this is the first time I've actually been able to pay myself in probably 5 years of owning it. 7 years.
That person needs to join Affiliate U. We will fix that problem as well. The second part of that is, so if somebody's trying to imagine what this is and how it works, I'll give you a quick rundown. And have you guys seen the Amazon store video where that person walks in, they grab something, and then they walk out, and you're just like, did they just steal? Did we just witness?
Yeah.
It's basically that. So this is all app based. Right. So you can do your membership stuff in here but from a retail standpoint, it is all self-serve kiosk from the person's phone, and they can walk in, they can check out, and they can leave. And there's no more write it down on the whiteboard. And we're talking about purchasing things, in air quotes, from you while they're not even at the facility. Like if they want, you guys, Bear Complex is in there, right? The grips.
Victory.
Victory grips. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Victory. So forget Bear Complex.
Victory.
Right? Victory. Yeah. Victory grips. So if I purchase those, the gym gets the margin for that.
That's right.
So now you've expanded your retail kind of crop, but not actually had to put up any capital in order to get it in there. So it's like, it's one step better than pre-sale. It's one step better than pre-sale.
Yep. They understand that the gyms are sort of the marketing vehicle, right? Like we're using the gyms as an access point to these consumers. Why not cut the gym into it? They're part of the process at which, and to be fully transparent, it was actually Killcliff's pitch. They were like, well, if we're going to do this, let's bring the gyms. I was like, yes, like let's absolutely do that. So
Chris is no dummy. So yeah. Chris,
they had already done that. They did that at the beginning of COVID where they said, hey, buy a case of Killcliff. We will send your affiliate, if you buy it through them, we will send them money. So when we approached them and we're talking about this, they were like, this is exactly kind of where their heart is at, which is awesome.
So people definitely have questions at this point. And one of them is just like, wait, how is this, what is this magic fairy dust that you've sprinkled on WheelPay that you've sprinkled onto WheelPay that allows me to not pay transaction fees anymore? Right. So walk through the mechanism and how this works, because I do think it's a very interesting model that I was not aware does exist elsewhere. However, we've just repurposed it for niche purposes to the CrossFit ecosystem, which is, hey, we're going to move the transaction and on top of that, use it for something that the CrossFit community is already hip on, which is the benevolent organization. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. So basically, we call it the affiliate fee. As you join the WheelPay family, you become one of our affiliates. You're part of our network of organizations. We're not specific to CrossFit. We're a micro ecosystem for micro gyms. And inside of the fee that they're now paying is what we call the affiliate fee. And in paying that, it's 4% across the board flat to every transaction, no matter whether it's a $3 can of juice or a $200 monthly membership, the fee stays flat. The nice part about it is, our company, just like we said, everybody has to get paid. So the company that we work with on the back end, they get their pay. And then on the front side of it, that's where the donation gets pulled out of. So we make, and it's roughly, it really is market dependent, but it's usually about 25% of our net profits. What we take in is donated directly out to a charity within the network. And we've already networked in with organizations like the Navy SEAL Foundation, the Phoenix, Project Safe, Habitat. It's Project Safe Child, Habitat.
Yeah, that's who we chose. We chose Safe Child.
Yeah. So
they're based out of Raleigh. They're amazing.
And here's the cool part. I realize this as a gym owner. We're a very philanthropic organization at Neuse River. And we've always done charity events and all these things. By me switching into this system, that true need to have the fundraiser falls less on the emphasis of raising the money and more about awareness to what you're doing, because you can point the money in whatever direction you want. So, in that 4%, they also get access to the global village. And it's important to note that the prices we've negotiated with the vendors inside of that are selling the products cheaper than you can buy online. So there's a value add to the consumer. They're getting a little bit more for their money on top of, and I said this fully transparent to my membership. I was like, I need you all to know you're helping me directly. You are helping me. You are helping my business. You are helping our coaches. You are helping our community, and you're giving back to charity. And there was not a eye that turned. They were all supportive of it.
Well, and just to be clear, because what John was saying, because you said no fees, and then we're talking about this fee all of a sudden. I'm sure. Wait a minute, what the? So essentially, what happens is that instead of John as the gym owner paying all the fees for all of the members, all of a sudden all the members are now paying that fee for using a credit card. And it manifests itself.
So you just took it and you flipped it to the other side, which some people could be uneasy about.
A little bit, but in CrossFit especially, because it's community, it almost makes sense, because instead of expecting this one person to carry this heavy burden, what does CrossFit do? They're like, we're going to lift each other up.
That was exactly where I was going with this, because I don't think it should be skipped over that 4% or 3% or whatever the number is. 3% to the purchaser on the purchase is not the same as 3% to the business owner. You're talking about 3% to the bottom line, dude. Like a ton. Tom, just hop on here.
I think too, just to go back, Jason, I want to clarify a point too. It is, when you pay a 1.99 to 2.99 variable percent transaction inside of your environment, you got to realize too, there's a surcharge fee. And what I actually really boiled it down to being was somewhere in the scope of 5 to 7% of my entire net or gross from the entire year. About 5 to 7% is what it really boiled down to being. So I'll give you my numbers. I have no issues saying we made somewhere in the scope of 249, 250 last year. And I paid out 18 so thousand.
Right.
Straight out. And I'm in the lower end of it. We had 125 active members consistently throughout the year last year. Which is a good number for my area. That's a good number. We're in a good space.
But think about what that does for the affiliate owner. That's taking a potential part-timer to full-time.
That's
right.
Absolutely right.
That's I don't know, hell, paying the affiliate owner for the first time ever.
Amen.
Right. I mean, it's a big deal, right? Or just putting a profit margin in place, right? So that if COVID hits, like, I'm good. So it's a big deal. But I do think there's probably some people out there who just like, oh, so you're just going to push it back to the consumer. And I'm like, well, number one, yes, because it's totally different than, and honestly, that's not weird.
Oh,
it's not
actually,
weird. It's very prevalent in a lot.
It's very prevalent. I mean, think about just rent. I mean, like triple net leases. As the renter,
Yeah.
you pay all of the taxes. You pay everything.
That's
Landlord
right.
doesn't pay shit.
I can, baby.
It's
Right.
just hidden in different places so people don't
Right.
see it as what it is.
So just
we
for
decided to, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying, just for reference, so like if you have $170 membership at 4%, you do not collect $170.
That's
No.
right. That's
You
the
get like
You
one,
collect-
159 maybe.
What is that? $6.80. So you're collecting, was that one? Yeah, I was right. So it's just about $7 off. So it's about 163 is your take home. 163.20
for one membership
per member. Right. That's so stack that up over every member across 12 months in addition to retail sales.
Yeah.
Right. And it's worth saying that like some of the retail sales, it doesn't matter, but some it does. So like the larger the purchase gets, the less of a chunk it is. But what you were referring to earlier, things that are in the $3 range that have a 9, 10 cent or 30 cent surcharge because of the transaction. I'm like, well, that was 50% of the margin on that. So
that's right.
That's what you're referring to earlier. It's just like, it doesn't even make sense for me to sell this because I know what I bought it for. I know what I sell it for, but what's invisible to me is what was taken out in the middle and what I actually collected.
Yeah.
Right.
So instead of taking your $3 can at $1.74, wholesale and making $1.26, you're going to make like, and I did the math, it was between 65 and 55 cents, depending on what I was selling in the transaction. So you're almost doubling your return on that retail transaction.
Right. And
it's
so
huge.
That is the whole thing. Right. And then in combination with this idea of convenience, right. So the member can long gone are the days at this point where the member's like, hey, I need somebody to check me out or write this on the board. Like we've put all of that in the hands of the user, which is what everybody wants anyway. Like I want to walk up and I want to, either scan or just pick that can of Killcliff, Fit Aid, Bang, like whatever, purchase it on my account and walk out of here. Like that's all I want.
The door.
I'm out the door. So now you don't have to worry about like, hey, put it on my tab or, hey, let me step away for a second and then go do this or paying somebody to sit there.
Or
like you've eliminated all of it.
Venmo request for money that they still owe you because you got to do the sheet.
So all of that's gone in addition to increasing the margin. And this is where this, in my personal opinion, is a big catalyst to people really getting retail sorted out. Because it's such a pain point for people because they don't know how to do it. It's a hassle to sell. So we're not in the retail business. And then I have this beef with investing in inventory because in most cases it just sits because I can never be there to make the transaction.
Yep. Where
now it's just like, no, you can buy it. Just like go in there and walk out of here with it and just pay on your phone.
Yeah. And the nice part about
what people were doing anyway, they were already doing that. They were grabbing it and writing their name down and walking out the door. We've just made it so that they're paying as they're walking out the door.
On a sweaty piece of paper.
Now, so that variation unfortunately still does happen, right?
Yeah.
The one that
for sure.
And now most people have gravitated towards like they've got their retail environment in Wodify or Shopify or something else like there, but that still is not self-service.
That's right.
It's not.
Kiosk, right? And it's not wrapped into something that's branded for me that lives in my ecosystem, right? So like I can't do that. And I know Wodify has an online store function and I love Wodify, but it sucks. Like that's not what it's for. It is not user friendly. Okay. It's not app based. It's not mobile friendly. It's none of that stuff. So although they are supposed to be revamping their athlete app here pretty soon. Anyway, shout out Wi-Fi. But anyway, it's not. I get that it's available, but it's not actually. The UX is awful, which means people just aren't going to use it.
Right, and that's what I ran into. Utilizing a few because I don't even want to tarnish anybody else's brand. They're doing what they do, and they've been doing it for years. But I ran into that exact problem where it's. Either I'm going to have to upgrade my gym with some piece of equipment in order to do it the way that our system is kind of doing it, or I have to change something about the downline of how I'm selling. Like it was an infrastructure change that, quite frankly, people are used to using the piece of paper, and we know in our space, people don't like change.
Right.
So, and this was the coolest part of the whole thing. The first probably month we, obviously Noose River was the first gym, so. We're running things through, and I've always had a fairly decent size retail environment. I always have thought if you don't sell it, they're going to buy it somewhere else. So you might as well carry what they like. And I found one of my athletes holding his phone and holding a can and looking at me and looking at his phone. And he's like, I can't explain to you why, but I'm buying way more stuff now. And it just became part of it. And so, we were able to create coupon codes for people who were buying more stuff. So they were being kind of, here's a referral code or here's this. So you get a little discount here or there. but I was also able to manage things like pre-sales. So I do all my gear orders as a pre-sale within the system. They buy it before I don't have to do anything. There's no Venmo request. There's no nothing. You just go in there.
Right there.
I've listed it. You buy it. I give you 2 weeks and then I place the order. So it's simplified a lot of the processes that I found to be time consuming. It's made them almost effortlessly, you know?
So there's three kind of aspects to really crushing retail, right? So the first one is kind of what we're talking about which is like the UX, or for anybody who doesn't know, I'm talking about the user experience and the convenience of it, right? So the app mobile friendly portion of this is my profile that has my information on it, and I just click and then walk out. So that's one. The second thing, which if you're making this convenient, now makes sense to build this out, right? Now it's worth the investment if I know it's going to turn, right? That's always everybody's fear, is that I'm going to buy the stuff, it's going to sit, because typically it's not displayed well. Exactly. So I will tell you, we have, and we're not even done yet, we have just revamped the entire lobby to make it like really nice. I mean, like it looks good, like lighting, mannequins, all that stuff. And we didn't buy any more stock, by the way. We just redisplayed it in a manner that looks like you were to walk into like a Lulu or something like that, and put it right as you walk out the door, and sales are up like 1,000%. People are just walking by and they're like, "Oh shit, you have shirts?" I'm like, "It's the same shirts we have for 6 months." Like, and it's my fault, right? Yeah. So, but so then you tack on like making it easier for them to walk out. Like literally, before he got on this, there's a guy who came back. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to buy those." He came back, took a break from work to come back in here and buy 3 shirts. So this is how you create a retail environment that actually, in no shit, in uncertain terms, actually aids the business when you're doing $3,000-$4,000 of revenue, which is not far-fetched, by the way. It's not far-fetched, that you're doing 30-40% margin on most of the time. And now I can do a big order of t-shirts or order multiple colors that will all collectively turn faster, that people can buy from home and then walk out, increasing my brand awareness. So this just keeps going as you go through. Now I don't have a problem stocking more protein because I can see the rate at which it's leaving. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to be here for that to happen. And this is how other people get it. This could be the thing that funds, like if you're running a 30-40% profit margin on retail, like what I do is I typically keep something around $1,500 in my retail account, just enough to do like a big buy of something before it runs back up. And then every month it gets replenished. But anything over $1,500, I move that money over to the equipment account.
There you go.
So if it bumps to $2,500, I'm taking $1,000 and I'm dumping it into the equipment account. And I'm like, now we have $1,000, even though we were already allocating money to that anyway. But this is how I'm just like, hey guys, we're going to totally redo the bathrooms. But it was paid for by retail, not coming out of the business. So this can absolutely be a lever that you can use. You just have to put some things in place. So I said 3 and only mentioned 2. So it's convenience, then it's display, and then after that, it's inventory.
Yes.
Right? You need to carry something so that you can do bundles. And if you're not doing bundles, you should, right? Like pair multiple things together, be like, hey, buy 3, get 10% off, like whatever. That's the stuff how you can really increase the average buy from $20 to $60 overnight. Just like done. Be like, hey, if you buy 3 of those, you get 10% off. They're like, okay, done. I'll take the hat, the t-shirt. Right. I'm going to take the hat, the t-shirt, and a Killcliff. And I'm like 10% because you were going to spend 20. Now you spent the hat and the t-shirt. That's 50 plus another $3, 53, $55. Done.
Yep. And I'll say too, like on that part too, where you're just like display, I've been in 5 gyms in the last 3 weeks helping them onboard, and all of them admitted that their retail environment suffered because of the sort of lack of ease of creating transactions. And what it allowed them to do immediately was look inward at how they were doing it, how they were displaying it, and how they were going to present it. And they have all made changes already, and they're going to see the increase. It'll happen because visualization, right? You got to see it the right way. It has to look right. It has to be present, That's why,
like when you go into any stores, you go into a Lululemon, you go into a Reebok store, you go into any of these like brick and mortar stores, and it's not by accident. Really, my cousin actually did design for interior stores for Lulu for years, and she worked for Steve Madden up in New York for a long time. Like that's literally, she would walk in and she would lay the store out, and she'd be like, okay, this is how it needs to be. If designed correctly, it should suck people in and be like, hey, you should come buy this from me right now. And all of a sudden, like, so we rearranged it, and we rearranged it like twice in 3 days. And then what happened was we knew we had nailed it when, like, as people were walking out, they were like, they couldn't keep walking. They just stopped. They just stopped and moved over there and like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, and I was sitting at the front desk and I looked over at Lindsay. I was like, it's working. I was like, it's working.
When so you see that at Whataburger, you see that like
100%.
At all these different places, the way that they set it up, the placement of the entrances and the exit. I mean, it can't be understated how important that part is. But then when you make it super easy for them to get what they want and leave.
And again, this is before we talk about the larger global market that people could just be sitting at home buying some shit for themselves that you get a couple bucks off of. Exactly right? They're like, I need some grips, and like, hey, go in your app right now and buy it right there. But like, buy those grips, and they're like, boom, you just made $4 or like whatever. I don't know what the margin is, but like, I mean, that's what you're talking about. Like, and then making this as part of your onboarding process, you know, because you and I were talking about this earlier, and like, this is one of the big aspects of what we teach people in Affiliate U is like really beefing up the intro and the onboarding and the kind of integration into the community. Like, having this makes introducing retail and making that, like, I mean, it becomes killer, right? It becomes a really killer experience.
You can dive right into the app. And the nice part about it is once you set your store up, you can search through things. And this is the thing I think it's been the most valuable for me. I sell like, I bet you I sell 60 different products. So
which for most affiliates is mind blowing, by the way. Like, people are like, they sell like 2 SKUs. And I'm like, no. I'm like, you like 60 is not a ton, but for a CrossFit gym, it's basically it's basically $1 million.
Yeah, it might as well be. And I go kind of on you. I don't move my money around the same way, but the same aspect. Like, if I'm going to go, I go all in. I didn't buy 8 containers of protein. I bought 30. So I have the inventory, I have the stock, and that will prove to me whether it's going to sell well or it's not going to sell well. But being able to go through our shopping environment and for lack of a better description, because I know that the folks out there will understand this, think of Amazon. You literally go in and you can scroll through and look at everything. So before you even come into the gym, you know, I want to buy Bub's Natural. I know he sells the MCT powder. That's exactly what I want. And they can look at it, you know, review it, look at so on mine, we've set it up so that the photos include the nutrition information.
Right.
So they can look at it all. You know, it's all there. It's taken the research out of it. And it's why people like shopping virtually anyways. Nobody wants to stand in a store and look at stuff. Create the environment for them. It takes 10 minutes to set up your shop the way that you want to. And then it does the sales for you.
And obviously go ahead, Nate. No, go ahead.
I was going to say to piggyback off of that, the other thing that's really neat about the system and the way that we've set it up is that, yes, we're working with these really big names like Victory Grips and Coquelith, but we're also working with like local shops like Set Bars that build out of like a kitchen that's borrowed. And so like they're all of a sudden like these local shops that may or may not have access to a nationwide market, all of a sudden are able to get a lot more exposure than they would before.
Ones that we, and to that, like if there's anybody listening who has a product that we might be interested in, talk to us because we're interested. We want to, it's all about community. You know, you look at a lot of the companies that have been built through CrossFit. I've seen it. I mean, I've been in the business for 10 years. These businesses exist specifically because of our community, and we want to lift them up. We want to be a part of that too, you know?
That's right.
One thing we haven't addressed here, which again is part of the big selling point, is the sustainability that this creates for the nonprofits in the ecosystem, right? Yeah. So again, think about this. A percentage of every transaction done in your gym, so let's just call it 300K, a percentage of 300K gets dumped into that nonprofit monthly.
Actually,
right?
It's quarterly.
Well, but I mean, like on a periodic basis, right? Yeah. However that goes out. But the point is like, I no longer have to worry about this burden. I'm like, we got to do a fundraiser this month, and I have this target to hit. And I'm like, no, we do that all year long. Maybe that's happening, and I can put that out to my members, and they'll be like, "Hey, we're going to give to." So, who are the current people in the ecosystem? So it's Navy SEAL Foundation.
Navy SEAL Foundation. It's the Phoenix, which is addiction recovery based.
Yeah, Safe Child,
Project Safe Child, and then Habitat for Humanity.
And then there's one more.
We had one more. We had to go offline with them for a little bit, but
we're also in conversations with a few other ones. For sure.
So we're talking to I think Faith RX. And then we really want to talk to Barbells for Boobs. So if you're listening, like all of a sudden it doesn't have to.
I'll connect you with Z.
Hey, come on! I mean, because
definitely.
That was when we started this. This was that they were the ones. My mom is a breast cancer survivor, and so like they were we were at Wadapalooza 2 years ago, and WheelPay had just gotten started, and we're listening to Guido talk about, their affiliation, and then like listening to the people that were there that were survivors. And that was really kind of because we basically were like, if we could fundraise for them all year, and it's not just breast cancer.
It's huge.
It's the whole year that we're doing stuff for them, and people get to decide. We want to help people, and that's number one, is being able to help people that are helping others.
Yeah. And then you're talking about like all of these nonprofits that people have an affinity for already. It's not like we have to be like, all right, we're having this event, we got to do it, we got to have this hard push. I mean, you can still do that, and you should. However, be like, no, it feels much better to know that I'm doing that every single month. Every single month. Right. And this is how like Wounded Warrior Project and a lot of these other like really big $300-400 million companies have done that. They're just like, hey, you can sign this up and you can take, $2 out of your paycheck, and you get enough people to do that. And all of a sudden you have this massive company that's able to do, and I don't know if Wounded Warrior is the best example, but they do tons of revenue, is my point.
Sure.
But if you take that and then, you do roll that over to somebody like Navy SEAL Foundation or Barbells for Boobs, now they have the capital to do what they need to do. And this is important for people to know. So like, nonprofit is a rough world.
Hard life.
It is a hard life. It is constant. It is constant reinventing of the wheel. It is a constant. So I want to give everybody a little example. So for all of you gym owners who struggle with the ask for something that people are coming to you willingly wanting to give you money, flip that on its head, where you have to go and ask people for money who may not want to give you money. That is nonprofit in a nutshell. It is so exhausting. True. And I worked in nonprofit for 3 years, and it, quite frankly, is something I think everybody should do. Like, they should go and they should live in that world, and you should realize like how fucking hard that is and how stressful it is. This is a way to create sustainability for these organizations that we all know very well in the ecosystem that do good stuff. That's right. And we can contribute to that on a massive level, and in some instances probably increase their revenue by 200-300%.
A lot. And I think to go on board with what you're saying, one of the things that I have a very clear remembrance speaking with Scott Strode from the Phoenix, and one of the biggest hurdles that 501c3s have is it's not just the fundraising, but it's the continued expense of simple things like marketing. Oh, right. So in order to fundraise, you have to continually dump money into that effort. So it's not, as you would say, a self-licking ice cream cone. It's got a huge hole in the bottom, and you keep having to fill it up. And our system allows the autonomy of just knowing that the fundraising is done. It's done. Here's the guaranteed money you know that you're going to get, but it only really works on a macro level. One gym's not going to make enough money for the Navy SEAL Foundation to sponsor $100,000 scholarship. But if 100 gyms are moving their money into there, we're making a big dent. That's right. And that's our vision. It's really more global. We're bringing the products that people care about into the system that they can purchase that benefit the gyms, who ultimately benefit the 501c3s and charities that we've already been supporting. So to go back on your terminology, it literally is a self-licking ice cream cone.
Right. And that's the beauty of it. Right. And it makes the gyms more profitable at the same time. It's a win-win-win scenario, which is what we're all searching for.
Yep.
Well, and because of the fact that the community's built the way that it is, I can come up and visit Rife. I can pay a drop-in fee through the app because I'm a member, right? And of that $25 or whatever that fee is for you,
it's $50 here because of the amazing experience that you would get.
Because it's the new retail
I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. Do you have the dancing people out front?
Oh yeah, I've got the little air guy whose arms swing around. Yeah.
Right. But it's cool because I can
Ackerman dances in the lobby in a little banana hammock. Yeah.
But it's great because I can go up and I can know that I'm not just paying a drop-in fee. I mean, yes, I'm supporting another CrossFit gym. I'm not just paying a drop-in fee. I don't just have access to your retail. Everything I do inside of this system, first and foremost, is going to go help somebody else.
Yep.
Whether that's
our
nonprofit,
that's our
or whether that's a local business that you love and you don't want to see go under because of a pandemic, whatever that is. Every time you make a purchase, yes, you're paying 4% more. Instead of paying $3.50 for a can of Kill Click, you're paying $3.86, right? Yes, you're paying 4% more. But what is that 4% doing? That's helping a ton of people. It's giving back a ton of time to people. As you know, as gym owners, you don't have a ton of time. You are running a business and you are the spiritual advisor for people, and you're holding babies and you're not in retail. So it's just, I love it because
win.
Well, math. So somebody, and I'm happy to combat anybody who's got any number of thoughts going on in this. So like, let's just say you're like, well, why don't you just raise your prices $5? And I'm like,
I love that one.
But you're not doing the math right. You don't get $5.
You're still losing money.
You're still going to pay fees on the $5. So I don't get to keep the $5. And the $5 isn't like, we just went 4% was 7, right? So if you bump it up by 5, you're still not getting the 7 back. Right. So again, it's one of these things where like, if you're like, oh, just raise the prices, I'm like, and many gyms should raise their prices, but that's a whole different discussion. But this is a way to just recoup or keep what you're taking in while simultaneously giving to a nonprofit. So this eases the conversation of saying, hey guys, you will see a slight bump in your monthly fees. However, a portion of that is going to nonprofit, boom, which we will give you a report quarterly so that everybody here feels good about what we're doing. Oh, and simultaneously, we're going to be able to dump that revenue back into the gym and put it into the equipment fund or like whatever else we're going to do. So again, it is a really big deal. And that's if you're talking about just running memberships through that. This is before we talk about leveraging like retail sales and or doing events, and like you could use it for virtually anything. So
yes, you can.
Again, it's limitless, but it seamlessly wraps this blanket of benevolence in it and is good for both the gym and the nonprofit space in there as well, in addition to just being convenient. And, yes, the consumer is going to foot the bill for that, but that's kind of the way the world works.
That's right.
Like, I don't know how to say that,
No, for sure.
And I was thinking about this the other day. If somebody was so bent on this and be like, okay, I don't want to roll the full 4%. I'm like, split the difference. Adjust your price, do the math and split the difference. Be like, okay, I want to roll this up 2%. So what does that look like? So I'll get 2% back and I'll only increase theirs 2%.
And we've
still get more money, right?
Yeah, we've curated a bunch of very simple solutions to head that problem off because, I get it. I'm a gym owner. I get it. People live on a fixed income. I'm not here. We can actually make the problem go away very simply. We've created a very simple system for how we price things. And from the back end admin, where that's something we would help you do, we are part of the process of bringing you into a new, merchant account with us. We are part of onboarding, but also we can manage how those price structures get set up. Everything is completely set up for your gym. It's totally specific for what you do. It's got your imagery on it. When you open the app, it has your photos and has your logos so that people recognize that it's through you. So it's totally up to how you want to do it. And I will say this, in the 14 gyms that we've moved into the system, I have not had a single person actually complain. And I don't say that you shouldn't. If you do have an issue with it, it's fine. But no one has actually batted an eye, because once I explained to him the value from the gym owner's perspective, and for what it is, I'm the philanthropic part of it is a huge piece for me. But when the consumers of that gym understood that it would bring value to the gym owners, nobody cared. Nobody.
Well, it's also probably nobody got any complaints because you're a gym owner. So all of the pain points associated with doing something like switching a merchant processor, right?
Yes,
so, I mean, this is when you're just like, hey, not only are you going to lose some of these people, you're going to pay us $700 to do a secure transfer of information, some of which won't actually go through or neither or be secure. So you're just like, wait, so why am I paying you $700? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. So because it's free, right. And these are things that you and I like fleshed out when you came to me and you're just like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, I think it's amazing, but here's all of the benefits of that, of like, so if you wanted to just start in your retail environment and just systematically get everybody on WheelPay by doing retail sales through it, well, I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. Like all of the switchover has been done by virtue of them wanting to buy things. And then I can just be like, I'm turning this off and I'm moving over, because we all know the absolute nightmare of like living in two worlds simultaneously, where like I'm going from this one to this one. And so I'm paying for them both. And I'm worried about the transfer and it's costing me an additional $600 to push everybody over. And I'm on this crazy 30-day window because I'm trying to make this transition really quickly. You can roll this out on quite literally whatever timeline you want.
Because the first time you switch somebody into our ecosystem, you're not paying their fees anymore.
Right.
It's that simple. It's that simple.
So I think what you guys are doing are really cool. I'm a massive proponent of it, which I told you, well over a year ago when we first had this conversation.
Before we were really there yet,
I know. Yeah. So I think it's cool. I think, and having seen under the hood of a lot of affiliates, this is something that is desperately needed, because in many instances, it will give them it won't make them massively profitable, but will give them the room to breathe and operate, because they are putting $500-$600 back into the bank account every single month. At which point, that is more than enough to, like, again, you're talking about like not even increasing revenue, just giving more access to your own capital and saying like, hey, I just really need to get off the floor because I'm coaching, 15 hours a week. And I'm like, cool. What if we took 8 of those out, because you can now afford it, because you get $600 back into the bottom line without selling any more memberships. And I'm like, I'm going to give you, whatever that is, 8 hours, 30 hours of your life back each month, so that you can actually start to work on your business.
And we'll help you do the transfer. So it's not even something you have to worry about doing.
I mean, there's so many good things about this. It's just like, it's like giving somebody something that they didn't already have. They didn't know they already had. And they're just like, no, you actually have this stuff. We're just going to give you access to it. So I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing. Anything else you guys want people to know about WheelPay, other than just like, let everybody know that Best Hour sent you, and they'll give you some bennies there.
Yeah. Nate, I'll let you kick off. I have a couple of things. I'm sure he's got some.
Probably the biggest thing, we hear this all the time from gym owners all over the place. And I think probably one of the biggest things that you would get if you did decide to switch to WheelPay is access. Because what we want to do is be available to people, probably more than anything. We want to help them with their business. We want to help them with their nonprofit. And we want to help just give people a good experience. And so the only way that happens is us being involved with you as a family, not just as somebody that is a fee. So that's we are available. I have people text me all the time, like, hey, something happened. Can you look into this, and I'll do it? Or, hey, can you help me set up this thing in my retail? So just know when you're doing that that's part of what you're getting is access to people that really want to see you succeed.
What do you got, JP?
So first of all, I think one of the things that I hope anyone who gets networked in with us, we are gym owners, we are gym coaches, we are a community of people who not only understand the struggles of running your organization, but just the struggles and ebbs and flows of a community. I want to build this with the intention of using you guys as the vehicle. I need to know, like, we want your feedback. I want to know what can make it better. We aren't here to stop. We're here to start. And we just got started about 8 months ago. And we've really gotten more public in the last month as we were ready. And we got through all of our bugs and all the little issues we needed to fix, because we built a native app. This is not a add-in or something. This is completely native to what we've built. Our technology is unique. And nobody else is going to be able to do it the way that we are, because we've used the relationships that 10 years of being in the business has been able to offer us. And I'm proud to say that comes as part of our family. That comes as part, you get to be part of that. So in that, for the next, I think we have 35 more gyms. One of the things that we're offering is basically just to come to your location. I want to meet you. I want to meet the gym owners. I want to meet your community. I want to know more about what makes you tick, because we are still developing, and we are going to continue to develop until this thing. To my point, I never want to see it end. I'm a true entrepreneur. There is no value in stopping if you want to make something great. So I want to see it become the best that it can be. And that only starts from the gym owners that we speak directly to. And Nathan can attest to this. In the last probably 2 weeks, we've learned more about what we need to change from other gym owners' perspectives than mine. Because as you know, Jason, we run gyms the way that we want to, because we own them, and that's the way that we think it should be done.
Right.
That doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is what it is. And we learned a lot from, even in our own technology, we learned things we didn't even know our system could do until one of our relationships in Raleigh, he was like, check this out. I did this cool thing for punch cards, and it works really well. And I'm like, we didn't even realize it could do that. That's super cool. And so that kind of stuff happens.
Face, Jay.
And then immediately we were like, why the fuck are you selling
Why are you doing punch cards?
Like,
I saw that little smirk.
I was like, what?
Right, it's like,
no,
what are we doing?
Stop it right now.
Hey, and to be clear too, I think this needs to be said, and you probably won't hear other companies say this, but we are not a finished product yet. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of stuff that we want to do that's along this same genre and of helping people that we haven't even begun to build. So as you come on and join with us, like John said, we want feedback. We want to make this as good as possible. And that's where the accessibility comes in. The only way that we get that is if you've got access to us, because we're going to build a workout tracker. We're going to build all sorts of, we're working on setting up investment accounts for gym owners, which is something that, people haven't even thought about as a gym owner, right? Like there's all this stuff that we're wanting to build, that we're going to build. but we knew that we were going to start on something small, which was let's save people as much money as we can.
I love it, dude. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's amazing. If you guys
want to talk a little bit about our kind of partnership and maybe that information.
Let's do it. Let's do it on a different episode. Just like I think this is important. In the meantime, if you guys want to reach out, just look up. You can find WheelPay on Instagram. We'll have links on our link tree and our Instagram profile and all that stuff. But just look for WheelPay. Tell them Best Hour sent you. So when you talk to either Nate or John, just tell them Best Hour sent you, and they will give you a little bit of the hookup there, which is important to us, right? So we know it's important for affiliate owners, and we want you to get a little benefit of our relationship. So
absolutely,
look them up. Outside of that, man, I know you guys are busy. Thank you for your time, and we will definitely have you back out. And they're going to be coming out to Rife and to do some content about that. So you guys will see a lot more stuff with regard to that I think will really more clearly give you an idea of like how cool this is and how beneficial it can be. So
gotta shoot that new retail spot.
That's right, bro. Right. Also, if you guys want to know, Nate is the guy behind the camera for dropping in on our YouTube series.
Sure is.
So
can't wait for season 2.
We got to get season 2. All right, gents, I appreciate it, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
So you never miss an episode of the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel and on all major podcasting platforms at Best Hour of Their Day. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a part of the best hour of our day. See you next time.